Hey everybody, this is Mr. O'Donnell. Welcome. Those of you should be watching this are freshmen, soon to be sophomores, and these are your instructions to help you guys with the summer homework. We're in an interesting situation this year is because we are getting a new textbook. I think I mentioned that to most of you guys. And the problem is that the textbook is not going to be here until the start of the school year. So normally I have the students start beginning reading the textbook and doing some outlining over the summer, and since we can't do that, I've had to come up with something else. So sorry for the delay in terms of getting it out. I've been trying to work and come up with what I feel is going to be something that I would like to have you guys come in ready to go with. And so that's ready to go. So I've created this video tutorial for you guys so I can walk you through so we don't necessarily have to have another meeting. And if you have any questions, you can refer back to this during the summer. Okay, so where to get started, you guys are going to go to Rockland High School. From Rockland High School, I think you can be able to navigate to academics and go to Mr. O'Donnell, and then you're going to get to AP World History. And this is a site that we're going to have. This is a new site this year that we created, and you can see under Student Resources we're going to have a link called Summer Homework here on the top. So you guys are going to click on this, and this is where we all your instructions and links are going to be. The reason I do the summer homework, sorry for making it difficult for you, but one, I would need to be able to let you guys know kind of the workload that it entails in this class, because this is a college class. And then the other reason is that I want to hit the ground running. I'd like for you guys, by the time that we show up on the first and second days of school, that we can actually start having some conversation about things as opposed to introducing the class. So that's why we do the class. And here, I'm sorry, the summer homework. And here are 4 things that we're going to have to do. The first one is that you're going to have to do here, it says you're going to write a 1-page summary on what's called the cartoon history of the universe. And this needs to be typed in at least 1 page, single-spaced on this. What this is, and I'll bring it up here, this is it's a PDF of a book that was written. There's about 12 pages of this, and this is just a sort of a comic book look at the beginning of how people started to become civilized. This class is about civilization, how we started from nomadic people to ultimately settling down, and those first civilizations like the Mesopotamians and the Egyptians and Chinese, and all the way, then the class will move all the way till the where we're at today in the present time. So this is kind of a good introduction for us. It talks about the beginning of these things, and I put parts of this book on here, which I think will kind of help us get a basic understanding, and the author does a pretty good job at explaining this, and it goes all the way up through a little bit of the early Mesopotamians and Hammurabi and so forth. So like I said, what we're going to do there is you are going to just read that one and type that up in a single-spaced 1 page. Everything that you're going to have together, if you could put together in sort of a big binder clip, because I think it's going to be pushing about 7 to 10 pages long is what your final summer work is going to be. So that'll be the first thing. The next part you're going to do is going to be called what we call Persian charts. Okay, and Persian is an acronym to help us understand the looks at different groups of people through different lenses, and each of the letters stands for something else. And the civilizations that I want us to do some research over the summer are the Sumerians, the Egyptians, and the Greeks. And what we're going to do here is, if you click on one of them, it's going to open up a PDF. And let me show you what that looks like here. Let me zoom out a little bit. So you're going to have to print this out. Up on the top, you're going to put your name. And then here we can see, here's the word Persian down on the left-hand side, P-E-R-S-I-A-N. And each of those letters stands for something different. So it's not about actually the Persians, which are a group of people that we are going to talk about in class. But this is an acronym to help us. So if you look at a certain group of people, like let's talk about the first Sumerians, what were they like politically? Economically, what was their religion, their social structures, what did they do intellectually, what were their achievements, their artistic, and then natural environment or geography. How did the natural world affect them? Let me go back and show you. If you right below all of these, I have a little description about what all of those stand for, political, all the way down to the end, to help you understand what I'm looking for in those. And there's one for the Sumerians, the Egyptians, and the Greeks. You're going to complete all of those. And there's also some vocabulary words on the second page of all of those civilizations that I want you to do some research and find out what is Mesopotamia. These are either vocabulary words or people, like Hammurabi is a person, Sargon is an individual. And for here, I'm just looking for just a couple short little bullet points. And the same with up here, too. I'm looking for about a couple sentences or bullet points. Let me walk you through one of them. Let me go back and we're going to do one on ancient Egypt. and I brought one up here. Now, you guys, I would like to have these ones. These need to be handwritten. These are not typed. And I brought this up in Word just so that you guys can see it. But like I said, I would like to have you handwrite them. Now, what I've done is I provided some links for you. So if you go down to below our Persian strategy, you can see I had these things, these civilization quick links. And here are some links for the Sumerians and the Egyptians and so forth. So to help you to look at this is I have a Wikipedia entry, pretty extensive and concise look at the ancient Egyptians. And so you can see they kind of break it up the same way as well. You want to look at them. Here's the history of ancient Egypt, but look at government and economy. Okay, so if I can jump down to that particular section, government and economy, well, that's talking about political stuff and economic developments. And so here it says the pharaoh was the absolute monarch of the country. You know, he wielded power. He was the supreme military head of the government. Then what you would do is you'd go back over here and you would start writing this in. You would say ruled by a pharaoh who had absolute power. And then you can look at some more. Some more things that I would probably add on this one. We can do this one together. He was the supreme military commander, which means that he led all of the campaigns. He was the commander-in-chief. But he also used a large system to help him run the government, and that's a word we're going to use a lot, called a bureaucracy, to control it. And that consisted such as... this is in the reading there, such as viziers. Another word was called the nomarchs, and even the priests. Even priests helped run the country. They also had a legal system, and this was based on the Egyptian idea called Mat, which was basically for law and order. And this system, this political system, would last many centuries. This wasn't something that just changed from one particular dynasty to another. And that's kind of what we're looking for each one of those. Now, if I go back over here to our Wikipedia entry, you can see this is where I got that information from. Here's the legal system. So that's kind of what we want to do. You don't necessarily have to read the entire entry, but we're going to do some skimming and so forth. Now, along with the Wikipedia entry, I've also provided another link, which is something to help you with. And here is for the Egyptians, is I have a podcast, and this is actually a lecture from a college professor, and he's doing a comparison on the Mesopotamians and the Egyptians. And I would like you to listen to this before you do those charts. I also have another podcast up here when you do the Sumerians and the Mesopotamians, and that's one from a website called How Stuff Works. And these are two audio tracks. Both of them are roughly between, I think, about 11 and 15 minutes. So listen to those, then do some reading, and then sit down and do some and complete the charts. For the Greeks, I don't have any podcasts for you to listen to. I just have a couple readings. So you're going to do that for these three civilizations: the Sumerians, the Greeks, and the Egyptians. Now, the third thing we're going to do is, after we've completed the charts and the cartoon history of the universe and the charts, then the third thing we're going to do is we're going to learn about another group of people where we're going to culminate with, and that's a group called the Romans. And what I'm going to have you do on this one is I want you to watch a video that was produced by PBS several years back. And so this is going to take you to a YouTube account that was run by PBS. And you're going to watch an episode called Order from Chaos. Let me show you what that looks like. So here's the video. The video is like a full hour documentary, so it's 54 minutes here without commercials. You're going to click on play. And this is a well-produced video. And so it's all about this individual here, the development of Rome in the 1st century BC with the first Roman emperor named Augustus Caesar. And so what we're going to do is watch this video about him in this particular important time period where we see Rome move from a republic to an empire, which is a key component from that we need to know about the Romans. And so what you're going to do here is you're going to watch that video, and then you're going to type up a report on this. And this report should be roughly 2 to 3 pages. And what I would like here is that this page 1 should be basically a summary of this. So about a page and a half should be just a summary of what you saw. And then the second part of it, what I would like you to do is answer these specific questions that I have. And this is talking about Rome and who were some of his critics and people who didn't agree with them, and ultimately how it changed, how Augustus changed Rome and the future of, and us, what we live in today, which was called Western civilization. So this is going to be typed up. That's the third thing that we're going to do. And also with this, I want to just to make sure that you guys are all, I do want you to watch this, is that we're also going to have a quiz on this for the first day. I got some specific detailed questions that I'm going to ask of you. And for our final thing is that we're going to have a timeline and a map. When you click on that, it'll open up this PDF, and here's some map identifications, some timeline events that you're going to do. And so let me scroll down a little bit here. You can see I've included, let me zoom out a little. So here's going to be a map. This map is rotated, so you'll just turn it the other direction. And you can see here's Africa, Asia, and Europe. There's the Italian boot. And what you're going to do is start to look to identify these particular things. So I want you to tell me about these empires, these geographical places, and know these cities. And these are places that we should have a pretty good understanding of the ancient world. So now it's kind of interesting about how can I do some of these empires that kind of overlap each other. And so what I want you to do is use some different colors. Okay, so what I've done here is like I've brought this up into Microsoft Photoshop. I'd like you to do yours by hand and use some different colors. So, you know, you pick a color, and then what you're going to do is draw, find the map on the Wikipedia entry, or you can do some of the research on the other ones, and you can say like here would be the ancient Egyptian. Okay, and you can fill that in and so forth. Then the problem with, like I said, is you're going to have some other civilizations that are going to overlap a little bit. So the Romans will overlap a little. So what you need to do then is just going to overlap those particular areas. And let's say you're going to go to whatever that would be. Then you would color that in, but leave it so that I can still see that you had the earlier civilizations as well. And it shouldn't be too complicated because there's quite a few. There's not that many that you do. The Sumerians, the Persians, the Egyptians, the Greeks, and the Romans. And then for our timeline events, these particular events, tell me when the Sumerians, the Egyptians, the Persians, the Greeks, and so forth. And then these specific events, like the death of Julius Caesar, Alexander the Great. And that's what this is here. If you rotate this sideways, it's just a simple timeline. And then you're going to put in some dates in there, and you can put things above and below that. Okay, so this, like I said, this should be, I didn't count the pages offhand, but I think we're pushing about 9 or 10 pages when you get everything all printed out and typed up. And this is due on the first day of school. And if you do have any questions, I'll be checking my email throughout the summer, and I can help you out with any of those. I hope you guys, this isn't too much of a bear. Here's my biggest piece of advice. Do not procrastinate and wait for this to be just a couple nights before. I would start to give yourself a look at the calendar and pick some days where you can work on these. I don't want this to be a major bear on you, but I do want you to get excited and start learning about some of the early civilizations. So thank you guys very much, and we'll see you in August.